Hi, I'm Heather Hubbard. I went from being a lawyer and partner at one of the largest firms in America to becoming an online personality and successful entrepreneur. I know what it takes to rise to the top. I also know all too well the toll it can take on your health and personal life. So, how do you shine bright without burning out? How do you chase joy while achieving success? You're listening to the Hustle and Flow podcast. Welcome back to Hustle and Flow. I am your host, Heather Hubbard, and we are on episode 179. What fun! Which is part 3 of our 4-part series this month. So if you have missed the prior 2 episodes, I strongly encourage that you go back. Each one I think is really good on its own, but it is intended as a series where it's really a holistic look at how we can all live our best lives in 2024 with everything that is going on. And it's a lot. It's a lot. So, in the first part, which was episode 177, we covered the hustle. We covered how to shine bright when you've got so much economic uncertainty, global unrest, a really divisive year when it comes to a pretty terrible presidential election. So there's a lot. There's a lot. So how do you be really smart and strategic, whether you own a business or you are an employee in a company? How do you get really strategic on your hustle so that you are not spending all of your time hustling for something that is not actually going to pay off? That was episode 177. Episode 178, which was part 2 of the series, was all about banishing burnout, which is a lot about flow, which is always important, but it's really important right now because collectively we have been through it. We've been going through it. We are still going through it, and we have been for the last 4 to 6 years. And we are exhausted. We are exhausted. Individually, collectively, we're exhausted. And so, how do we really take care of ourselves and really take care of our body, our minds, and our souls during this time, during this life, during this 2024? So if you missed those, I highly encourage you to go back. But I'm super excited about today, part 3, episode 179, because it's all about joy. It is all about fun. And you might be thinking, Heather, with everything we have already discussed, with the world just being wild and all of us really struggling, mentally, emotionally, perhaps financially, what are you even talking about having fun? Like, ain't nobody got time for that. We all have time for it, and we need to make it a priority because of all of the crap. I mean, we should be doing it anyway. But this is a really, really important part to, I think, the flow piece. Um, but it also impacts the bottom line. It really does make a difference financially, um, with your work. And it's what allows us to have more satisfaction and more happiness, regardless of what is going on around us, because we don't have a lot of control right now. We don't have a lot of certainty right now with what is going on around us. So we have to focus on having fun and experiencing joy. And no one is going to make sure that we've got that. So we really have to make it a priority, and others need it and want it as well. I shared in our Taylor Swift episode, which was so much fun, episode 170, that I think one of the reasons why Taylor Swift and Beyonce and Barbie did so well in 2023 was because people not only need, but are seeking out joyful experiences where they feel safe and understood. And so we can't just wait for Beyonce and Taylor to bring their amazing tours to town. Now, I have to tell you, those were some of the highlights of 2023 for me. So when they come to town, I sure as hell am going to try to be there. you know? Same with Barbie. Loved it. I was in the theater. I went by myself to a matinee. Loved it. Um, when those opportunities come, we need to take them, but we cannot wait for them. We cannot wait for them. We have to start creating our own joy. I shared in my comeback, I shared in episode 169 that when I had to go on the sabbatical, when I was really struggling. So the tumor that I had created a ton of physical, mental, and emotional. They had a lot of side effects where I really was not myself. But I kind of lost everything. In many ways, I lost the business. I mean, it was still here, but like I lost the business. I didn't have anything to achieve. I have never not in my life had something that I was working towards, that I was trying to achieve. And that is where I got most of my joy. I got most joy out of life from the achieving. And I don't think there's actually anything wrong with that. But when that is gone, what do you got? And I'm not saying that we're going to lose that, but we have talked in the last few episodes about the ebbs and flows and the uncertainty. And so there might be moments where you're really tested. And the question becomes, are you going to lean into the fear and the discomfort and the anxiety and the frustration, the shame, or do you have outlets where you can lean into joy and fun even when shit is hitting the fan? And honestly, this is when I realized that this was missing from like my hustle and flow formula per se. Um, I always had the hustle and then I added in the flow and I thought, not that I had life figured out, come on. But that like I was like this was the missing piece. I needed flow and then I had the hustle and the flow and it was really good for a really long time. And then I found myself at rock bottom and I was as I shared with one friend who invited me at the time to join like a business roundtable and share what we're up to. I was like, I just sit and watch hummingbirds. like this is what my life is right now. And she was just like, well, that's a good perspective. But and I enjoyed the hummingbirds, but I was not happy or satisfied. I felt sorry for myself as I was watching the hummingbirds. And so I was just like, so I had the flow piece, right? Like I was using the tools, I had the flow piece, but I was miserable. I was miserable. And that's when I learned that the missing piece was joy. It wasn't just that the hustle was gone and I just had the flow. By the way, some people are totally cool with that, right? Like some people can zen out. Like all they need is flow. Like flow is everything for them. But I think most people who listen to my podcast or watch this on YouTube, most of y'all aren't like flow is like we got to work for our flow. Like hustle is easier for us than flow. So when one of those pieces, is gone or even when you have both, right? Like how do you lean into more happiness and satisfaction? And I did not know the answer to that because I did not know what fun was for fun's sake. Not on its own, not on its own. Like there were moments of fun, right? Like I'm not saying I didn't experience joy or I didn't experience fun, but I didn't set aside time to have fun just for fun's sake. And I didn't really explore the concept of fun. It wasn't until I was trying to like find my mojo again. I was like, I have lost my fucking mojo. And how am I going to get it back? And we covered that in episode 173. And so this is a little bit kind of like that, but maybe you've not lost your mojo. Um, but it's still important. It's still so important that you have fun. And maybe you're not in a place to hear that. Um, But if there becomes a moment where you are really struggling and you're down and out and you're just like, I'm checking all the boxes, what is missing, or just like what could make my life better. I have a hint for you. It's fucking fun. Like, have more fun. And I think women, and especially professional women, we don't know how to have fun. Like, it's not anything we have ever prioritized. And so it feels awkward. We feel silly. We might feel childish and vulnerable. We may feel like it is just wasteful, like it is a waste of time. We might feel selfish. We might have guilt around it. Um, we might have to have a beginner's mindset, which we're not good with because we're generally at the point in our careers where we're damn good at what we do. And we don't want to start over. We don't want to be bad in anything. We're like, we have already gone through our training and we are now experts. Well, you might have to be a beginner again, and that doesn't always feel great. So it is like the next level of personal and professional growth. Um, is to learn how to have fun. If you're not having fun on a regular basis, if you are not experiencing joy on a regular basis, and I mean like just like completely outside of business and outside of even like, for example, your family, right? Like just for you, then you've got a great opportunity. And I'm not just issuing it to you as a challenge of like, if you want to keep climbing the ladder, because like that's what we do, right? This is the next rung on the ladder. I also am meaning it in that like it makes life so much sweeter, and it too can improve your hustle. It makes it more strategic and focused, and it can improve your flow, um, because you just have it really improves your well being overall. Okay, so how the hell do you have more fun? Well, I think one thing is to just and again, if you really are interested in this topic, go back to Mojo. I got some ideas there too. Um, which was episode 173. Um, seek out things that are interesting to you, where you can just spend time being in a complete state of awe and wonder. It's a bit of a childlike state where it's like, wow, that's remarkable. Wow, that blows my mind. Wow, how does that work? Like the 4-year olds always saying, why? Get in that state of asking why. So if you're out in nature on a walk, if you're just like really present and you're looking at the different trees and the different leaves or whatever else, and you're just like, why? How? Like, how many species are out here? And how do they, right? Like, you just get in this space of like, wow, this forest, this tree line, this park is amazing. Like, everything that's in it is amazing. Like, how did this come to be? And how does this all work together? Um, it may sound a little philosophical, a little out there. No one's got time for that, but it opens up a doorway and it starts to make you look at life in a different way that is just more interesting. So, for some of you, like you may find that like gardening or horticulture or something like that is actually brings you a lot of joy, a lot of fun. Not me. Manual labor is not my favorite thing. I don't find that soothing, but I do enjoy being able to just kind of like be in awe of nature around me. But like again, it just opens up this doorway where you just see things in a different way. And it allows you to have, I guess, a little bit more of that beginner's mindset. And so, for others, it might be through like going to a museum. It might be art. It might be some kind of installation. I know here in Nashville, we have this amazing garden, Cheekwood, and they do installations that a lot of times they'll have like light installations, and you just go through and you're like, wow. And it just sparks all of this creativity and it brings about this childlike joy of awe and wonder, and it makes you want to play. It just makes you smile. And so it's like seeking out those types of things. Um, One of the things that I did when I was trying to find out what could bring me more joy, what could really help me tap into my creativity, because I was specifically interested in creativity, I did The Artist's Way, which is a 12-week, I mean, it's a book, but like you kind of go through it on your own. And it was great for me. I know others who did not like it. If you were not a creative, and even if you are a creative, like you just may not like it. It really opened a lot of doors for me. It really allowed me to explore my creativity, and my creativity allows me to have more fun. Creativity may not allow you to have more fun, but it might. You don't know. I think a lot of people say they're not creative um, because of their standards for excellence and because they feel like they're not good at creativity. They're not a good artist, right? They're not a good painter. They're not good at drawing. They're not a good, therefore they're not creative. But they might be. They just don't allow themselves to be, going back to that beginner's mindset, because they don't think they're good at it. And if they're not good at it, it makes them mad or they're embarrassed, as opposed to just doing something for fun. Like you're doing it for fun's sake. And so there can definitely be a learning curve on this. When I first started practicing mindfulness, whew, there was such a learning curve on that. And I had so much resistance, and it was a process, but I got through it and then I was so much better. Same with having more fun. So much resistance, so much pushback, and then finally got through to the other side. So it doesn't happen for all you judgmental types out there. It doesn't happen automatically, but being open to it, testing it, can really lead you to a lot of fun. Um, but I highly encourage the artist way if you feel like there's a part of an art, like there's an artist within you, there's creativity that's untapped within you. It's a lot of fun. It's really a great way to go about it. It's funny because when we came up with, so when we did Simple Courage, um, and we did these Simple Courage circles, and I did these workbooks. Someone actually asked me, they were like, "Oh, this reminds me of Artist Way. Have you done that?" And I had never heard of it. And then I ended up doing it. I was like, "Oh, I totally see. We were going about it in similar ways." And so that was kind of fun to see. Maybe that's partly why I like it. It's just the way my brain works. But it gives you activities to do. And it's very similar to how I do not just things with Simple Courage, but with Heather Joy Hubbard, the brand. Um, it's just ways to explore, to get curious. So find ways to have fun. And I think a lot of times people find fun through vacation, and there's nothing wrong with that. Vacation is a great way to have fun, but it shouldn't be the only way to have fun. If you're only having fun one, two, even three, four times a year, that ain't enough fun. We need to be having fun on a regular basis, if not a daily basis, a weekly basis. The more fun, the more joy that we can have, the better. And we can come up with all kinds of ways to do that. One is through hobbies. I think it's great to have a hobby. I think a lot of men have hobbies, a lot of women do not. So, really finding ways to have hobbies, and then little bitty things. Um, So I know I have a lot of lawyers that listen to me. Instead of a yellow legal pad, what would happen if you used a purple legal pad? Just something that brought you a little bit of joy. What if you used color ink pens? You know, what what would just bring a little bit more joy to your life? I think so my office was always more on the fun side. I mean, fun has always been important to me, but I never prioritized it. I just found, I guess, little ways to bring it in. Um, but I had my Bob McGill. If you remember my old house, my old office, I had it. Now it's in another room. Um, but it's this kind of wild, eclectic painted credenza. I had that in the law firm. So it was like purple and orange and blue and all kinds of wild colors. Um, and then my like what was surrounding my desk, like the bookshelves and stuff, I had all kinds of just little tchotchkes and like I think I had some puppets, just random stuff that would bring me joy. And I think people found it amusing when they came into my office too. Some of the guys didn't really know what to think about it. Might not have been as professional, that male profession, um, which reminds me of the old podcast episode, Uncorporate Manifesto. Anyway, get creative. Like what brings you joy? Can you put flowers in your office every week? Fresh flowers. Can you find ways to just go on like little like if you're working in a downtown area to almost like be a foodie, come up with a foodie tour, go to different places by yourself just to go explore new foods. I mean, it's really important to have fun with other people, but it's also important to be able to have fun just on your own. And so creating time for that can make such a difference because, like I said, I feel like in many ways, flow is it's the peace, right? It's the personal peace. So with hustle, we've got a lot of times it's financial success. And then with the flow, we have personal peace. But like where's the joy? Where's the fun? We deserve that too. And I think that's why I really think we should dig into that. And I think in a year where we've got so much uncertainty, where we've got so many people who are struggling, and whether they're telling us or not, that includes our friends, our colleagues, our peers, our clients. The more that we can create fun, festive, joyful environments and atmospheres, one, the more positivity we put out in the world. Two, the more people want to be around us. And three, the better time we have, right? So there's nothing bad happens when you have more fun, unless, well, I'm actually thinking about some college and law school days. Sometimes bad things did happen, but you know what I mean. Um, if you're drunk, some bad things might happen with that kind of fun. But I'm talking about fun for fun's sake. That is not that. Okay, I digress. I like we're all having right like right now we are all having those moments where we're thinking back on some. We're like, oh, that was fun. We're not going to relive that. So I have an idea that I'm implementing in my business and my life that I want to share with all of you and invite you to join in. I was going to say steal my idea, but actually, I don't want to say that as a former IP lawyer and as someone who a lot of people do like to steal my stuff and my slogans and whatever else. Um, we're not stealing. I am generously offering for us to all share in this, okay? So join me and we'll all share in this together. But it's this concept of a fun club. What is a fun club, Heather? Well, it's exactly like it sounds. A club is when you get together to do things. And so in this instance, it's to have fun. And so there's a lot of different ways to go about this. I'll tell you how I'm doing mine, but I think the world could use a lot more fun clubs right now. And so I think we'll have more fun if we host our own fun club, and the people around us will also get to have more fun. And it's just going to better all of us in a million different ways. So the idea is that you are going to host a fun club that meets and you get to decide weekly, monthly, quarterly. I don't know how often it's happening, but go ahead and decide in advance when you're going to have these meetups. Decide whether it's just for your existing friends or whether you want to combine it and use it as a business development, as a marketing opportunity, um, or whether you want to mix and match it. Because maybe if you're doing it monthly, sometimes maybe one month you just want it to be maybe your girlfriends, and maybe another month you want it to be business prospects or clients, right? You don't have to do the same thing each time. Now, you may choose to make it like a club where the same people meet over and over again, right? Like there's like a lot of breakfast clubs or like true organizational clubs where, you're a member. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you enjoy that, if you've got a core group that you want to invite that will show up, go for that. Me personally, I kind of like to mix things up. I feel like anytime you like try to start a breakfast meeting or something else, and it's the same people, like people start to fall off. And so just having fresh energy, new people, it just keeps things more interesting, and you're more likely to have more people show up, in my opinion. But you do you. This is your fun club. Um, and then you just have fun activities. So even if it's business development, don't make it like a typical business development event. I mean, I definitely think that, like, I'm trying to think back to like kind of like my law firm days. Sometimes we would do things that were a little more fun. The guys do a lot of things that are a lot more fun, with their golf tournaments and their tennis tournaments and they would go out shooting guns, clay shooting, going to the gun range, going to Las Vegas to gamble. Right? They were always the boondoggles were out of control, but women, it tends to be like, come get your nails done. Let's have a spa day. Um, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I get my nails done all the time. I love getting my nails done. I love a spa day. I'm not going to decline those things. Um, but what would be fun? What would be fun? And so what if, it's going to a ropes course? What if it's going bowling? What if it's riding horses? I'm just like coming up with stuff. Um, some people are going to be like, no way in hell am I doing that. That does not sound fun. Totally cool, but others will. And that's part of the beginner mindset. That's part of the like just getting yourself out there. We are not we have not been conditioned to have fun. So we don't necessarily know how to do it. Um, but how do we go about it? And it's literally just, you know, and you can choose how big you want it to be. Like maybe it's just 6 people, maybe it's 12 people, maybe it's a free for all. You invite however many want to show up, and however many show up, show up. Um, but like let the goal be just to have fun. And I think people will appreciate that. So for me, the way I'm doing it is I'm going to have a monthly fun club, and I'm going to curate each group. Um, and we're just going to do a lot of fun things. I've been brainstorming like what I want to do. I think we might go canoeing down the Harpeth River. I've been thinking about maybe doing some bowling. I've been thinking about going to do some roller skating at the skating rink. And a lot of you, like if you've got children, you're like, yeah, I've done that with my kids. That is different than doing it with a group of adult women without any kids around. Totally different. That is like, those aren't the same things. You can't compare those. So you can have fun with your kids, but you also need to go have fun with adult women. And it might be a very different experience. So it's okay if someone doesn't want to do something. You're not going to be able to please everybody. And like I said, there's a lot of baggage around women having fun. But I know so many amazing people that my goal is to curate a different group each time. And so some months, I might just have a particular group. Um, like maybe it's just lawyers, or maybe it's just former clients, or maybe it's just comedy, maybe it's just online business, maybe it's just public speakers, and maybe sometimes it's a combination of all of them. Um, but I do plan to curate my group each month on the invites, and we're just going to do something fun. Another way that you can do it is if it is business development, you can pick up the bill for the whole thing. Um, as you know, some people won't show up, blah, blah, blah. Personally, so in some ways, mine is business development. Um, like it's nurturing, it's building relationships. Um, but again, like if you listen to the episode on 177, which is hustle and being really smart and strategic about it, I I personally don't think that's the best expense. So the way I'm going to run mine is that if you want to come, like you're just paying yours, right? So if like your bowling shoes are $5, then each person would pay $5. If you know what I mean? Like it won't be much money for someone to participate, but like we just handle it there. And of course, if there's an overage or whatever, I'll handle that. Um, but I've just found that sometimes, like when you cover the whole thing, if you don't invite enough people, you have people that drop out or that don't show up, and then you're on the hook, you're on the line. And then that's not fun. That becomes straight up business development, right? That's not the concept in my mind of mixing pleasure with fun. I am first and foremost trying to create more fun in my life. I'm trying to create more fun in other people's lives, and it's going to allow me to nurture um, business prospects and relationships. And so that's great, but that's not the primary reason I'm doing it. If it's the primary reason you're doing it, then yeah, you may want to pick up that whole bill, but it becomes something else. It becomes less about the fun when you do it that way. So I want mine to be more casual, where people, don't feel obligated. They also are like, aren't going to say yes and then drop out because they were never really serious in the first place. Um, but we gotta spread more joy. We gotta have more fun. So I invite you to start your own fun club this year, and let's just all share. Like, let's see how much joy that we can spread. So if you do it, I'd love for you to like post on social media and tag me at Heather Joy Hubbard. Um, you can email, comment below this video. Like, let me know what you're up to, what you're doing. It brings me a lot of joy to know that others are participating. And like the last 2 weeks, I have a worksheet for today to help you with your own ideas, your own ways to have fun, as well as how to set up that fun club. So it's got instructions on how to do that. So all you got to do is go to heatherjoyhubbard.com/subscribe, and you will get not only today's worksheet, but you'll get the last 2 worksheets as well. All right, I will be back next week with the final episode of our 4-part series to really prep you for 2024, to make sure that you are hustling hard, but you also have a lot of flow and personal peace, and you're experiencing so much fun and joy. And part of the bonus for that for next week is I'm going to take you behind the scenes and share with you some of the things that we do at Miraval, and hear from some of the attendees, so that even if you weren't able to afford the retreat this year, even if maybe you had a time conflict, you'll still get to kind of see what goes on and get some really valuable insight from the amazing women who were able to be there. So just a really generous way to invite you in, kind of show you what happened and what transpired. So enjoy your week, and I will be back next week for the final episode of our 4-part series. Thank you so much for joining me for this week's podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, give the episode a like and leave a comment below so we can keep the conversation going. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you never miss a future episode or announcement. Listening on Apple, Spotify, or another podcast app, you can watch the video and join in the after-show conversation by visiting hustleandflowpodcast.com.